So headers, footers and page numbers. Let's talk about page numbers first. Page numbers is great because if you're thinking about it, you're going to have a contents page in your document. That contents page is going to refer to certain page numbers and you're going to want the user to be able to get to it quite quickly and easily. So you're going to want to have page numbers automatically put into your document. You can see at the very bottom left, actually Word knows which pages you're on. So for example, this is page 4 of 5. So Word actually automatically inserts the correct numbers for the pages as long as you tell it to do so. So at the very top, I've got here in the Insert tab on the ribbon, page number. And if I click on this, I can choose, do I want to be the page numbers at the top? And I could have it on the left-hand side, the middle, or the right-hand side. Or I could choose one of the building blocks where we've got a certain amount of styling already taken place. I'm just going to actually put it here in the top. There we go. You can see that it's got this little grey border around it. That means it's automatically being updated. And you can also see that the rest of the document now has gone shaded and the header itself is now in focus. What I could do, you see, is now I'm in the actual header. I could perhaps add something like the word page in front of this. There we go. And now if I click out of the header, so I just double clicked out of a document, and as I scroll down, you can see that that page is consistent and has been added to every single header. I'm just going to come back in. To come back in, you just double click on the header, and I'm just going to remove that word page and double click out of the header area, and I'm back into the main part of the document. So one of the things is page numbers. Page numbers will always be part of the header or the footer. So depending where, if you came up here and had your page number at the top or the bottom, it's basically saying it's in the header or in the footer. And what you can do though is you could also put it perhaps to the right hand side, there we go, of the actual document. So for example, if I perhaps want to have it on the right hand side here in an arrow, you'll see it's out of the actual header area, but nevertheless it's still part of the header because the header bit is selected. So I'm just going to remove that page number and come out. And you can see it's now been faded to transparent because it's not part of the actual document. I can't select it here in order to edit it. Again, it's part of the header. So there we go. So there's page numbers. Let's actually look in more detail about the actual headers and footers. So let's come into here. We saw that when I wrote the word page, it actually was then consistent throughout all the headers. But at the very top, I've got some other options. I could perhaps put the date and time, and I could say it to update automatically. So every time this document is opened and printed, it would have the latest time and date in there. I might want to insert a picture. So for example, I might want to click on the picture and perhaps have my logo. You can see that the logo here is particularly large and the header is taking up over half the document. So let us actually reduce that. And so the header will just, there we go, have it just at the top and come out. And you can see, there we go, I've got a little image at the top of every page. So you could have your company logo there. You could put some quick clip art in there. You could perhaps have a different content in the odd and the even pages. So I'd perhaps click on this, I'd put information in the even page header, and then I'd come down and then move to a different page, and then you can see that we've got an odd page. So depending on what information you put in the odd page, that would then be shown on every odd page, and the same for the even page. Let's click back into here. I'm just going to uncheck that. And I can also have certain alignment, and I could have the distance of the header from the top. So perhaps if I want to have more space of the header for the document, I can increase it and decrease it. And I could put certain alignment tabs in there. So perhaps I want to have, here we go, 3 leaders in there. So a whole host of different functions that you can do to put information in your header, to have consistency throughout your document, and the footer behaves in exactly the similar way with the same design tab. My recommendation actually is to ignore this and to come into your header, and rather than do any of that, I'd come into the insert header and I'd choose one of the building blocks, because they generally have a lot of consistency throughout your document and they've done a lot of the hard work for you. So for example, if I put in this type of building block, you can see it automatically taking the page title and the subtitle and the author, for example. And the different header styles have different information. So my recommendation is always to use the building blocks. But you can do anything you want. It's your document and has your consistency. As usual, give it a go.